Welcome back to another episode of English 101 with me, your instructor, Jeff Sanger. In this video, we're going to give you a bit of an overview of what the position paper is about. There's lots of instructions, lots of materials in Canvas, but I know that people will like to have videos sometimes as kind of to give them an overview, right? So here you can see all the great materials from week 16 that were related to the position paper. So the position paper is somewhat similar to the op-ed that you wrote for me about solitary in that you will be using persuasive writing. You are working to convince your reader to agree with your thesis about either e-cigarette regulation or sugar taxes. However, the big difference between this assignment and the op-ed is the audience. Position papers are written for an academic audience. This means you cannot use first person or personal experience anywhere in the position paper. Do not use I statements. Do not write about things that happen to you or to people that you know. Academic audiences only care about source material. This is why we had an annotated bibliography designed to help you find 5 credible sources that you can use in the position paper. You will use the sources to convince your reader. What that convincing looks like, how you do that, right, is laid out in this demonstration and readings about Toulmin argumentation, right? So Toulmin argumentation is founded on this idea that you use grounds from sources and develop warrants to help convince readers. And then you also include sources that disagree with you. And then you develop concessions and responses for those sources that disagree with you. Okay, if any of this terminology is unfamiliar to you, you want to do this reading, right? Because the concepts that they talk about in the readings are the concepts that I expect you to deploy in the final paper. And if you choose not to do so, it's going to lead to some problems. As you can see, I'm hoping you've already looked through this content and hopefully participated on the discussion board that happened earlier this week. This week, you were practicing how to identify grounds from your sources and use them to convince your reader, right? So, for example, if you believe that there needs to be more regulation about e-cigarettes and you have a source that includes data about how many more teens are using vape products this year than last year, for example, or you have evidence that shows how much impact advertising has on teens. These would be grounds you could use to convince the reader. But the important thing that Toulmin taught us is that grounds are not enough. It's not enough to just point to numbers. You need to use your own ideas to connect those grounds to your own argument, to prove to your reader why those numbers matter. That's the warrant. Anyhow, that's just a basic overview. There's lots of materials in here that are designed to help you understand and practice these concepts, even if you're late in getting to them. Week 17 is going to be about what to do with sources that disagree with you. You have to use at least one source like that in the position paper. Speaking of that opposing viewpoint source, there are a few students who neglected to include an opinionated source that disagrees with their thesis in the annotated bibliography. Please, please be sure to check my feedback on your annotated bibliography. You want to care about more than just the grade here. You want to go in and find the assignment, okay, and click on it so that you can see. Yours won't say no submission. Yours will have a button that says view feedback, and there will be a comment here from me. Be sure you are looking at this, because as I said, there are a few students who still need to find an opinionated source that disagrees with their thesis. If you don't have that source when you write the position paper, you're going to run into major problems in that section. If you're having trouble finding one, I'm happy to help, but you need to be sure to read the comments so that you know if you have issues in terms of sources that need to be added or replaced before you enter into writing the position paper. That's about all I've got for now. This is a complex paper that's got multiple different parts. You do not want to try to write it in one sitting. Please try to use the discussion boards and the other materials to adopt a piecemeal approach to working on the paper that will lead to effective composition, revision, and editing. Of course, this paper is worth a great deal of points and will determine for some students whether they pass or fail the course. Please keep up your efforts. I'm looking forward to reading what you write. Reach out to me if you have questions or if you would like to put together a Zoom meeting to discuss your work on the paper so far. That's all I've got. Take care.